It started with screams echoing through a quiet neighborhood and the sound of splashing water that didn't belong on a cold morning. A woman's voice cut through the silence, pleading, gasping, fighting for air. She was handcuffed, helpless, and sinking fast into the deep blue of a backyard pool. The uniformed men standing above her didn't rush to help. They watched, laughed, recorded, and within minutes a video of their cruelty would explode across the internet, forcing the world to confront another brutal reminder of what unchecked power looks like. But before that, before the outrage, before the headlines, there was a woman who wanted to live. Who was she, and how did it come to this? Watch till the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Her name was Danielle Rivers, a 34-year-old single mother of two from Dallas, Texas. She worked long hours as a nurse, spending her nights tending to strangers and her mornings racing home to make breakfast for her kids before school. Life wasn't easy, but she carried herself with quiet strength, the kind built from years of enduring things most people never saw. That Sunday morning, she'd just finished an exhausting 12-hour shift. Her neighbor, an older man known for his short temper, accused her of scratching his car while parking. She tried to reason with him, calm and polite, but when he threatened to call the cops on her kind, something inside her went cold. She went back inside, trying to shake it off. But within minutes, flashing blue lights reflected through her curtains. She didn't know then that the next few minutes would change her life forever, that a misunderstanding was about to turn into a nightmare. Two officers arrived at her door. Both white, both visibly irritated before even speaking. They asked her to step outside. She complied, her voice soft and respectful. They didn't listen when she tried to explain. The neighbor's accusations were enough. Within moments, they were shouting about resisting, about cooperation. But Danielle hadn't moved an inch. She kept her hands where they could see them, pleading for a chance to speak. Instead, one officer grabbed her wrist, twisting it hard behind her back. The metal cuffs bit into her skin. A neighbor across the street started filming. The phone's lens would soon capture every cruel second that followed. As they dragged her across the yard, Danielle stumbled, nearly falling. The officers pulled harder. "You want to play games?" one muttered. They stopped near the edge of a backyard pool, a shimmering blue stillness that reflected the sky. "Please," she gasped. "My kids." But before she could finish, one officer shoved her forward. She fell, arms trapped, hands bound, into the freezing water. The shock hit her like electricity. The cuffs made it impossible to swim. Panic took over. She tried to tilt her head above the surface, gasping for air, choking. The officers stood above her, watching. One laughed. The other took out his phone and started recording. "Guess you should have listened," one said. Seconds turned to eternity. The water swallowed her screams. The video caught everything, the cruelty, the laughter, the moment her body went still. Then suddenly another voice. A neighbor, angry. "What the hell are you doing?" The camera turned. A man ran forward and jumped into the pool. He pulled Danielle up, coughing, barely conscious. The officers froze, realizing too late that the world had just witnessed their brutality. And that neighbor's video? It wouldn't stay hidden for long. By evening, the video had spread across social media like wildfire. The image of two uniformed men laughing as a black woman struggled for her life became impossible to ignore. News anchors replayed the footage. Hashtags demanded justice. Protests erupted outside the Dallas Police Department. Danielle, bruised and trembling, sat in a hospital bed as reporters gathered outside. Her eyes were hollow but defiant. She couldn't erase what happened, but she could speak. And when she did, her words cut through the noise. "They threw me into that water like I wasn't human," she said softly. "But I am. I'm a mother, daughter. I'm someone's everything. And they almost took that away. Within hours, both officers were suspended. But the pressure didn't stop. Every second of that video fueled outrage. Every tear Danielle shed became a symbol of something much bigger, something the world was tired of forgiving. Then, in a stunning twist, a warrant was issued for the officer's arrest. Charges: assault and attempted murder. For once, accountability seemed within reach. As the cameras rolled, the same men who had laughed while a woman nearly drowned were led away in handcuffs of their own. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Weeks later, Danielle stood in front of a crowd holding candles, her voice steady but full of emotion. She had recovered physically, but the scars on her spirit would take longer. Still, she was there, not as a victim, but as a voice for those who couldn't speak. "What happened to me wasn't an accident," she said. "It was a reflection of something deeper, something broken that's been ignored for too long. We keep saying never again, and yet it keeps happening. When will enough finally be enough?" The crowd fell silent. Cameras flashed. Across the country, people shared her story, not just for what it revealed, but for what it represented. A mother, nearly drowned for existing in the wrong skin color, had become a symbol of survival and resistance. The officers would later plead guilty. Their careers were over. But Danielle's fight had just begun. She started a foundation to support victims of police misconduct, vowing to turn her pain into power. In interviews, she often said, "I could have died that day, but maybe I lived so someone else doesn't have to go through the same." Her story became more than a headline. It became a movement, a reminder that justice isn't just about punishment, it's about change. And somewhere out there, another mother, another daughter watched Danielle's story and whispered to herself, "Maybe the world is finally starting to listen." Which country and city are you watching from? Comment below and let your voice be heard. Take care.